There's more to being a Buffalo Bills fan than breaking tables. Welcome to the More Than Breaking Tables podcast, a show about what really makes up the greatest fan base in the NFL. We're talking football with experts and fans from around the country. Here's your host and proud member of Bills Mafia, Connor Kobis.
What is up, Bills Mafia? Connor Kobis here with you on another episode of More Than Breaking Tables. A week after the Bills win their regular season Super Bowl against the Chiefs, they give up a Super Bowl victory to the Dolphins in the way of a blowout loss that we're going to unpack with you today as we get ready for the Tampa Bay Bucs this week. Pasquale Majori, my guest as always. How are you handling the overreactions that you've seen online? What's your current state of address for the Bills?
Yeah, the only thing positive about the game is I didn't get a chance to watch it. I watched about 20 minutes of it because I had a commitment. So that's the positive. Yeah, a lot of overreactions, but I think at this point in time, losing to the Dolphins, a team as bad as they are, I don't care what anybody says, they're a bad football team, is got to be very concerning and very alarming.
For sure. I mean, what was your thoughts as you didn't get to catch it, but you were maybe checking your phone? Like, did you think Josh got hurt? I mean, for the Dolphins going up 16-0, I think most of the Bills fans were shocked.
No, I was listening on the radio, so I knew exactly what was going on.
Okay.
But it was very frustrating driving in the weather conditions that we had on Sunday in Ontario, Canada, a country where people don't really know how to use the lanes properly. So that was very frustrating listening to the game, hearing all these dumb mistakes, dumb errors, giving the Dolphins every opportunity in the world to win the football game. So it was a very frustrating, very upsetting Sunday for Pasquale.
Absolutely. And to be honest, the game couldn't have started out any better for the Bills. We know your love of Mike McDaniel, sarcasm there, obviously. He burns a timeout before the game even starts. They get a penalty, run two bad plays, Tua throws a jump ball that gets picked by Cole Bishop. So instantly you're thinking, this is perfect. The Dolphins are playing like the Dolphins do. But Buffalo goes 3 and out, and I'll be honest, people wanted McDermott to go for it on 4th and 1. I think we should have.
Yeah, I'm not going to second guess that. I'm not going to say that would make or break the game. It's too late to really discuss that. There's bigger issues than 4th and 1 call early on in the game. So I'm not really going to dwell on that, but just a bad performance all around, all phases of the football team, and just not good at all.
Yeah, and I mean, the recipe for another loss for the Bills is turnovers. Josh fumbling the ball, James Cook fumbling the ball, a terrible red zone interception by Josh as well. We know what the success recipe is for the Bills to get to where they want to go, and when they're not playing that way, they can be beat by anybody.
Yeah, and they've shown that.
This week we got the Bucs coming into town. Just lost to the Patriots. Do you think the Bills get it right at home?
I do, but it's going to take a lot more than just winning this Sunday to kind of turn this season around. You see the Patriots have really taken off, beating the Falcons this past weekend. No, the Falcons were 2 weeks ago. They got another win this weekend, so they're on the right track, and they're probably going to win the AFC East, which is going to give us an opportunity to get in via a wild card. If we even do that, I'm concerned about the number of injuries that we have on defense. You can change the scheme. You can do whatever you want. You can sign Mecole Hardman to the practice squad and think that's going to solve a lot of problems. But I think the problem with this team is a little bit deeper. I heard a good theory that I really like and I really kind of agree with, that, you know, this is a tired football team. They've played a lot of football over the past few years, and playing all these prime time games, getting bounced around to different time zones and all that stuff, maybe finally catching up to this team, not to mention all the injuries that they're dealing with right now. Josh Allen is not on his game. He's definitely not the Josh Allen that we've seen the previous few years. Things need to change. They need to change quick if they're going to do anything and salvage this season. But I do expect them to win this Sunday, coming back home against the Buccaneers. And then we got a tough game on a Thursday night, short turnaround against the Houston Texans. So this is make or break these next few weeks, and we will see what happens.
Absolutely, but I also remember a season not too long ago where the Bills were 6-6 and things looked really dire. We ended up going on a 5-game win streak to win the division. I think this year's Patriots team is better than the Dolphins team that blew that 3-game division lead. I'm not writing off the chance to come back and win the division. Doesn't look good. Your playoff models project the Bills have like a 32% chance, but there's still half of the season left to go. Patriots still have to win these games against some of the lesser teams. So I'm just not ready to write that off yet and just assume we're getting a wild card.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the way, with as dumb as the NFL is, with the results that have been playing out as of late, anything could happen. But I feel like with the advantage that the Patriots have right now, we're not coming back from that. They're just too consistent. They're a good football team. They're well coached. Drake May is doing what he needs to do, and that team is just performing right now. They're hitting on all cylinders, and I don't see them slowing down. And that's our own fault. We can't lose these dumb games to these dumb teams like the Miami Dolphins, like the Atlanta Falcons, just inexcusable losses that we've been dealing with this season, and this can't happen.
Absolutely. And I respectfully disagree. I think there's still going to be, the Bills are going to have a say in the division when it all is said and done. We still get to go play New England a second time. New England gets to play Baltimore. I just think from where they were last year for them to go a 14-3 record, I just don't see that happening.
I hope you're right. I'm just not thinking it right now. I think
and I get where you're at. They've looked impressive. Drake May looks like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL this year, for sure. Mike Vrabel's doing a great job. They have a guy we used to have who's killing it. Speaking of receivers, can we just please move on from the Coleman thing and bench him? That's where I'm at with everything.
Yeah, again, I heard some mixed things about Sunday's performance, but yeah, that's going to be a swing and a miss by Brandon Beane.
Yep.
And I
just
think
acknowledge it.
I think these are going to start to add up, and I think people are going to start to see through, this whole mystique. I heard somebody else commenting on Brandon Beane. You want to post your cute little memes, Beane after dark, things like that. He's not delivering at this point. A lot of this could be roster construction as well, not having proper depth in certain areas. So we'll see. This team really needs to, if we don't make the playoffs this year or fail in the wild card round or the divisional round this year, things really need to be looked at. We really need to see if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing when it comes to building this roster. And the hard thing about that is not having the cap space, not having the flexibility to move pieces around where we need to. You have a lot of money wrapped up in your quarterback. You have a lot of money wrapped up in your running back. You got a lot of money wrapped up in your defensive line. That doesn't leave a lot of money in other spots to improve those positions. We want to talk about not having a number 1 wide receiver. We mentioned Keon Coleman. He's obviously not the guy. So you dump him, you lose a year, and then you're starting all over from scratch. Is there a player out there you can trade for? Story came out on Sunday that I'm not exactly sure if I believe it 100%, that the Bills made an offer for Jalen Waddle. I don't really know how that works, making offers to big-time players in your own division, expecting the other team to reciprocate and make that trade to make you better. To me, that sounds asinine, and I don't really know. Was that Schefter's story?
No, they offered a 2027 first-round pick to the Dolphins for Waddle. I 100% agree with you. Why are you trying to get guys in your own division when they're less likely to want to make you better because they play you twice a year? But we talked about receivers in the NFC, and they were had for 4th and 5th round picks. I just don't understand where Beane's head was at. And if the Dolphins wanted a next year's first-round pick, why not just give it to him? It's going to be a later round pick.
No, I understand where his head is at. It's not fantasy football. It's real football. It's the NFL. You can't trade for everything you possibly need. You can't sign every free agent you need. You have to be smart where you make those moves. They made a smart move by signing Joey Bosa in this offseason, but are we going to have the capital to sign him, re-sign him, this coming offseason? I don't think so. So things really, once again, have to be analyzed. And then, I'm a Sean McDermott guy. Not afraid to say that. Watch Sean's Monday afternoon press conference yesterday fell back in love with him again. I like his messaging, but there's definitely something internally that is broken, whether it's Joe Brady, whether it's Bobby Babich, whether it's the ownership. Something internally is gone wrong, and I feel that's part of the problem that we're seeing. Like I said, we're seeing a lot of injuries. The team looks like they're tired. They're not properly motivated, not properly ready to go. Is that Sean all himself? I can't say yes. There's a lot going on in the season, too. You're getting ready for the new stadium. You have Josh Allen coming off of the MVP season last year. A lot going on. The primetime games. It's just everything is just adding up and adding up and adding up. And it's like the perfect storm of shit, which is really bringing this team down right now, as we saw by that absolutely piss-poor performance on Sunday in Miami against an annoying coach and an average quarterback in the Miami Dolphins.
Absolutely, and I'm kind of exhausted with Joe Brady in this offense for a little bit. We're still running the screens, the end arounds on 4th and 1s. His offense was great last year. Josh won MVP. We were rolling on all cylinders. People are starting to say the rest of the league is caught up to him and he hasn't made adjustments. And with the way the offense has looked inconsistent at times, you kind of have to think that might be something that's caught up to them.
Yeah, and now you had the news come out yesterday that the Giants fired Brian Daboll, and you got a stooge reporter asking Coach McDermott, are you going to bring Daboll back? Like, why would you ask that question? The guy just got fired that day, and now you're asking if you're going to what are you going to bring him back for? You have an offensive coordinator. Yeah, you can bring him in as like a consultant or something like that, but how awkward would that be for Joe Brady? Oh, hey, by the way, here's the old offensive coordinator coming in just to be a consultant. Okay, whatever. Yeah, what is he going to consult on? The color of the seats in the new stadium? Just stupid. Like, I'm
sick of... if you're going to bring him in, you might as well fire Joe Brady then. I mean, because it would be awkward if he's the guy calling the plays and Daboll's coming in to give him his opinion. Someone's got to have, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I agree with you. Just as a nostalgic and the success we had with Daboll, if the Bills brought him in, it's a mental thing. Like, okay, something's going to be different. But you got to go, who's the end-all, be-all? Who's calling the plays?
And before you cut me off there, I was going on a rant about the media because I'm sick of these like dumb questions by these reporters who think that they're smarter than the head coach of the NFL football team. I believe it was Tim Graham asking a question of Sean McDermott about rain gear in Miami. Like, who cares at this point? The Bills didn't have the proper gloves, so they lost that game. There's a lot more involved. I'm overly frustrated at the coverage of this team, not to mention how the team is performing, and it's just leading to a very miserable season. And once again, I expect them to win on Sunday, which will give us a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, a little bit of hope, but then once again, we got that short turnaround going into Houston. So we'll see what happens. I'm just not really a big fan of the whole presentation this year, not only on the field, but off the field, the reporting and a bunch of other things as well.
Yeah, and that's fair. I agree with you about the Bucs game, but that short turnaround to Houston, a team we lost to last year, that's going to be a very difficult game. So all we can do is take it 1 week at a time. Can't get any worse than it did against the Dolphins. I'd have to say in the McDermott era, that was top 2 or 3 worst losses we've experienced, to get blown out by a team that truly has nothing to play for. And I kind of get concerned when you hear guys like Spencer Brown and Josh Allen saying they wanted it more than us. How can the Dolphins, who you consistently own in the regular season, want a game that means essentially nothing more than you do when you're in a tight division race? That kind of concerns me.
Yeah, and kind of talking about the Miami and the Houston game in the same breath, in the same sentence, it seems like Josh Allen, either he gets off to a slow start or has a hard time playing down in Miami. You would think at this point in his career he would have gotten over that. Houston, another place he's had a hard time playing. You go back to the playoff game, you go to the game last year, so you're already going into that game kind of having second thoughts in the back of your mind. How are they going to play? Are they going to, lose another game they should win? Houston has been impressive on defense, but their offense is still 50-50. Stroud coming off a concussion. We'll see how he's looking. But, you have to question Josh Allen's, not maturity. That's not the word I'm looking for, but you have to wonder why he's still having these struggles. And we'll throw the Jets defense in there too. He's still making the same mistakes against the same teams and doing the same things against the same team. So, you got to hope that Josh can rise above and overcome and get over that hurdle after we get this victory on Sunday and go into Houston, get a win there, and let's right the ship here and head for that wild card spot, which I'm still going to hope for, as much as you're going to still go for the division.
Until the division's been clinched, it's still within reach. So I'm going to hold on to that. But I agree with you about the Houston defense. I have Josh Allen as my fantasy quarterback. I'm not starting him for that week. I've already looked at it. Starting Jared Goff. I don't like that matchup with the receivers that we had. Didn't go well last year. Can we beat Houston? Yes, but it's going to be one of those ugly grind out wins, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be. It's going to be your typical shitty Thursday night game.
Which they've had a lot of shitty Thursday night games recently.
Yeah, and I have a feeling it's going to be one of those that's going to be very hard to watch, and it's going to be very stressful from start to finish, and probably won't be very enjoyable. So let's have that to not look forward to.
Yeah, but when we come to you next week, hopefully we are riding the high of a big win over the Bucs, back in the win column, and I don't want to be talking about next year's draft or free agents in the wide receiver class next year. It's way too early about that. Let's right the ship and let's get back in the win column.
Yeah, it's weird having that feeling again, having that feeling all day on Monday of losing, and almost like a feeling of despair because how bad they played. Like there was no redeeming quality, no redeeming value in that game. Nothing positive came out of that game. Everything was negative: offense, defense, injuries, special teams.
I will say there was one positive. I thought the pass defense with Hairston and Bishop with those 2 picks, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of them. We still gave up plays to Tua, but the big issue with the defense is the run, and they ran all over us again on Sunday.
Yeah, this ancient fella is apparently pretty impressive, whatever.
Pretty impressive.
We'll see what happens with this guy next year.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of More Than Breaking Tables. You can follow me at ConnorKobis17 on Instagram. Pasquale, I'll let you make some plugs before we head off the air.
Oh, yeah, Buffalo Championship Wrestling is coming up next weekend, Sunday, November 23rd. Lumber City Rumble, 4 p.m. bell time, Renaissance Italian Club, 252 Vanderbilt Street, North Tonawanda. We're also doing donations for Pantry 383 in North Tonawanda. So we're accepting food donations, peanut butter jelly, tuna fish, mac and cheese, non-perishable food items they will accept, and we're trying to do that. We'll have more information about that right here next week when we recap the victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's the positive spirit. As always, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for listening. Go Bills.
Go Bills. Did you see me freezing up, or were you freezing up?
No, I don't know. It was a little staticky at the end.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on.